Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you from SideQuest... I'm going to start that again. Why did I have to think about that? Coming to you from SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 213. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Ahoy, hoy.
And joining us from beautiful, sunny, funny Queensland is Diana Green.
Hey, I'm glad that I didn't mess up my intro like you did.
Great, now I can't edit that out because you've referenced it. Damn.
Put it in the deleted scenes. Yes. It won't make sense for 4 hours.
But yes, thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. Of course, this is a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there is a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. Yeah, Diana, thank you for joining us again today. And yeah, long-time listeners will be very familiar with you and your voice, but there's been a bit of an update with what you've been up to since then, hasn't there?
Yeah, I've been actually putting good content on my YouTube channel instead of just whatever I felt like. So
I don't know, hitman in clown outfit, hilariously murdering people is pretty good.
That's great. But until I get burned out, I'm doing weekly reviews on YouTube of just different games, usually portable things, because I collect Switch, Vita, PSP, 3DS, DS, Game Boy Advance, N-Gage, and I'm about to start Game Boy Color. Oof. It's pretty much anything. RPGs. I've done all the PSP Grand Theft Autos. I'm doing some old Game Boy Final Fantasy spin-offs. So yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, especially watching your N-Gage videos, because it's a console that I only know...
everyone has heard of, and so few people have any experience with.
To actually see what it looked like and how it played, and that it ran Tony Hawk's Pro Skater at a somewhat acceptable level.
The Tony Hawk one is probably the most impressive game on the N-Gage.
Sure.
That and Tomb Raider 1 got really good ports, but most of it is Game Boy Advance ports. Yeah, because the Game Boy Advance was out at the same time. So you get Sonic Advance, but it's called Sonic N. And the screen on the N-Gage is so small that it actually gives you a letterbox option, so you can make the screen even smaller just to see what's ahead of you, 4 pixels.
Yeah. Yeah,
no, the N-Gage is it's a disappointment, but an amazing disappointment.
A cubic failure.
Yeah, and it's such a wild curiosity, a portable console where you have to take the battery out to put the game cartridge in.
And you need a SIM card to use it.
How did it fail? Seriously. With features like that. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really been enjoying your videos up on YouTube, and yeah, it's just great to see you carving out a really specific niche like that. No one's reviewing the shit that you do. So, and you do it, wonderfully. Great production values.
Yeah, no, I'm glad because it gives me a reason to live. No, it's been really nice. I have got a giant bookshelf of games that no one cares about, and I can actually put them to use.
No, absolutely. And, much like I did 5 or so years ago with what do I do with fucking all this knowledge of watching, at that time, 27 years of The Simpsons. But
only 27. Were we ever that young?
Oh, the halcyon days and all that such. But anyway, so today we just watched Season 22, Episode 10, Moms I'd Like to Forget. That title already.
Sucks.
First released in January of 2011, it was directed by Chris Clemens, written by Brian Kelly. In this episode, Bart discovers that he shares a curious sword scar with a 5th grader, but it turns out that this dates back to when Freudian slip, when Marge used to have a group of friends and then all their children all share the same scar, and they dig into how that happened, and Marge gets a social life. Anyway, it's a bit confused. There's a lot going on. But I turn it to you two. What did y'all think?
I didn't hate it.
I will struggle to remember this tomorrow. So this is going to be a tough one because I don't have a lot to say despite a full page of notes. It exists. That's certainly true.
I kind of liked it if I go into it knowing that the first third is terrible, and then I ignore the A plot and just focus on the B plot. It was kind of alright.
What's the A plot and the B plot from your perspective then?
A plot is whatever Bart did. B plot was Marge's whole side of it.
Yeah.
Marge had the best moments, easily. And there were quite a few of them. And I wrote down quite a few, and I actually laughed at one, and then my partner asked if that was a pity laugh or if it was actually a funny joke that happened. But yeah, there were good moments. Spoilers, it wasn't a good episode, but it had more good moments than I expected for season 22.
Yeah, well, I go to bat for season 22, and it is among the higher ranking of the HD era seasons. Like, 22 is always the one, with 20 as well, where I say, you know what, these are where the best episodes of the modern era are. And this is one that I remembered fondly. Watching it today, I don't know that I feel as fond, and for that reason, I think it might have been a bit more disappointing than if I went into it without the critical lens.
Yeah.
So I'm really, keen to get stuck in and, figure out if this episode, is any okay. I struggle to use the word
Do this
good.
ep be good?
Me review ep good. But anyway, BT, we'll start out with you. For better or worse, what's a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I like the couch gag. The couch getting up in the morning and going to work and, saying goodbye to its family and then just being, That was nice.
I did have a huge pop for him reading the paper about the Ottoman Empire falling.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, but look, it's got a long intro, it's got a reasonably long couch gag, and there are 2 long Bart fantasy montages. Should tell you how much material they had for this one. And the fact that I'm also referencing the couch gag as the thing that stood out to me.
No, absolutely. Yeah, now that you mention that, it sucks that they had such a long intro because I thought,
there's more to be pulled from this episode.
Yeah, that I think this episode's biggest sin is that it didn't dig in harder. Also, that it told bad jokes. Diana, how about you? What stands out to you from this episode for better or worse?
I liked the 2 different books Homer was reading in bed.
Yeah.
Did you see them?
Spectacular.
Yeah, they were great. I think the jokes that... With the Sudoku one, the joke he actually said was alright, but I think with the crossword joke book, it was just... a slightly extra beat, but still, it was fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, the mumbling and reading it out, because we actually had a similar thing with Agnes Skinner's site joke where it's just like, she's got to read my bingo strategies, and it's like, it's all about luck. And yeah, this one being already solves crossword puzzles and Sudoku number ideas. Ooh, 3.
Yeah, just like him saying, 03 is very good. But yeah, he didn't need him going, rambling on. It's just the visual was funny enough of just already solved crosswords.
Yeah, in fact... In my notes, I write down a lot of jokes that I kind of like, and then I put down extra beat. Most of the good material went on too long, but that's better than doing nothing with 22 minutes.
It's better than telling awful jokes, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what stands out to me, I'm just going to mention it here because I think we can just sort of get the C story of this episode done very quickly.
Homer doing his taxes.
Man, I like the concept of this joke, but he shouldn't have been holding all that stuff as he walked into the room.
I didn't mind that. I hated him actually doing it and pulling out the file cabinet thing.
Yeah, I think I would have liked that if they structured it so it was a bit more of like a pullback and reveal. Like it was close on him on the toilet and then, there's a filing cabinet. I don't know. Again, a lot of this episode. Core concept, fine. Execution, lacking.
What was the actual C story?
The C story. Homer having to hang out with the husbands.
Yeah.
I really like this, and of course, we've all been in this situation where we've been, forced to hang out in a group where we're not quite clicking.
Yep. But circumstances landed you there, and you're stuck there for the duration.
Yeah. And just for whatever reason it's not happening, there's no energy there. And yeah, in an episode that needed more of its material dug into, I liked that this one took its time, and I like that there was such awkwardness about it. And I genuinely like that Homer wasn't the, what's the word I'm looking for?
He wasn't like jerk-ass Homer, and he wasn't being the problem there. The problem was that they weren't getting along, and he was genuinely trying. He's like, does anyone want a beer? And there's like, everything you say is asinine.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked it. It was relatable. And it's one of those things where I thought every time they went back to the well, it would have been worse, but they kept it brief enough each time that I didn't mind. Like at the very end of it, Marge is basically saying that she didn't want to break it up because Homer was so happy with them. That was fine. The extra beat with Flanders was not great, but all those guys, every time you see them, it was fine. It came back enough times and for short enough intervals that I didn't mind it.
Yeah, it's almost a shame that we didn't hear more from, like, the other two in the group. It was just mostly Homer and that blonde
one
dude
guy.
snipping.
And it would have been kind of nice to get a scene between Homer and Marge where she's all, like, gushing about how great a time she had with these ladies. Like, did you guys have fun? He's like, yeah, sure, sweetie, I had a great time. Just trying to spare her feelings because
Yeah.
part of what they don't dig into is Marge getting something out of this and the rest of the family not. But, yeah.
All right, well, sorry, I think that COVID booster is affecting me way more today than I thought it would. I am, like...
You do seem a little spottier than usual, bro.
Anyway, so wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
I wrote down some whack. The beginning where the dodgeball goes off after ricocheting off someone's head, and it just stays up there for ages before it climactically comes down and gets caught.
Where did the fourth graders get funding to, preemptively buy all their championship merch?
Schools just get funding for all kinds of sport, man.
Fair enough. But yeah, there was a bit of wackiness, of course, we sort of alluded to before with the Bart fantasy dodgeball sequence. How did we like how that one played out?
Do kids really play dodgeball as much as TV makes it seem? Because I must have been out of the loop.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, I remember, like, at school we used to play a sort of dodgeball called kickball. Not
Poison
kickball even.
ball?
Yeah, it might have been called that, but it was more not throwing the ball anywhere. You had to aim for under people's knees. Because I remember, like, vaguely one of the rules was if you get above the knee, you're out, or something to that effect.
Just to avoid kids pegging the ball at each other's heads.
Yeah.
Now, this whole sequence, I think, had a really big missed comedy moment where, he's fantasizing about, getting crowned mayor and getting to ring the bell at the stock exchange and all these kind of things for getting, the final kid out in dodgeball. And then he has the superhero fantasy of flying into space and there's a giant dodgeball comet coming for Earth. And what I wanted was for him to dodge out of the way instead of catching it and throwing it back, because that's what you do in dodgeball. But no, he just catches
in
it.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, it's not the same. He's supposed to dodge, and then it's meant to hit the earth, and he's meant to have one of those anti-fantasies that the Simpsons have so often in the early days. I don't know, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, by the time we're getting out into space, I was like, this sequence gone a bit meh, and like, he's in Egypt, and he's threw the dodgeball at the Sphinx, that's why it doesn't have a nose. Yeah.
Look, we already know from Aladdin why it doesn't have a nose. We've covered this.
Because...
The
what?
flying carpet distracted the sculptor, Elliot, during a whole new world. God, pay attention to history.
Well, I couldn't see it because my eyes were welling up because that was a beautiful scene in that wonderful movie.
Nerd.
Well, when you do the Disney Index, you'll have to talk about that.
We kind of are actually already doing the Disney Index, aren't we?
You're starting with The Simpsons, and once you finally run out of material, you'll have to cover everything Disney owns, so you'll be done in no time.
Did this Lion King feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Did this Lion King reboot feel like The Lion King?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jerk-ass Mufasa.
already went on a fucking huge rant about that last episode. And I will continue in this. No. The other Bart fantasy, of course, Milhouse mentions the Jets versus the Sharks or something like that.
Yeah, that sucked.
Oh, I liked this. Like, it's obvious that's where it was going, but I don't know, to me, even the extended bit where it's like going the Jets football team, which I assume is a thing. Yeah, I kind of popped for it.
Yeah, of the two fantasies, this was probably the better, but the fact that it was the second one, it was like, okay, you guys ran short, didn't you?
Yeah, you do sort of notice when it piles up.
I thought the second one went on way too long because the concept of it, like, it's obvious, and you could do 5 seconds and it would make sense, but just stretching it out didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. At least the first fantasy, it had slightly different material every 5 seconds.
No, that's true. Like, it was at least moving and changing. I'll pay that. But I think this can sort of be all wrapped up into, what you were saying before, Diana, is this first act is not quite good. And the building of the hatred between the 4th and the 5th graders, like...
Doesn't pay off, doesn't go anywhere, not even the point.
Yeah, and that they spend so long on it, and that they extend it to the Teacher's Lounge bar brawl scene. What do we think of this?
I mean, I liked it, especially with, Skinner playing piano. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but hey, I'll take it.
That's
I think
all I could say.
Yeah, I think I just like Western bar brawls in general.
Yeah, so that's it. I liked it in isolation, but in the context of this episode, I'm like, you're taking time away, and this isn't the 4th and the 5th graders anymore. This is the entire teaching staff. It doesn't really make sense. Yeah, but any other wackiness from this episode stand out to y'all?
There was Ralph being dropped on his head.
Oh, boy.
Obvious
Yeah.
joke, and not a good joke, but
No.
they went there. And on a similar note, something else that was also, you probably shouldn't have done is the whole Skype thing with Mo.
Yeah,
So
that was
bad.
terrible.
Yeah. I wouldn't have minded it if they didn't, save a specific issue that Mo had. If it was just sometimes, I'm just like that. Because it's a running gag that Mo is always looks unphotogenic. So if they just had it glitch out once and didn't draw attention to it, it might have been fine, but...
Didn't say, that's
Exactly.
my Bell's palsy acting up again. Yeah.
I all of a sudden have this affliction.
Only when I say I do.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate this joke as well because they set it up with the screen sort of tearing as well. So you're totally led to believe that this is a computer problem.
Yep.
And then that it's just Mo. It's like, well, he couldn't do that. This doesn't make sense in the context of the joke. And also, don't do this joke.
Yeah, well, his magical bar rag gave him the ability to warp space around him.
Always forget about that magical rag.
How could you? It's the second best episode after that 90s show.
Hot takes.
Well, yeah, look, there is a fair amount of wackiness in this episode to go over. For expediency, let's jump to the heart. What did we think about the heart in this episode? The emotional core.
There were attempted moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are concepts. They weren't done, but I do like the idea that
Yeah.
Marge is happy and she doesn't just want to give it up because, Bart was being a piece of shit. I'm sure a lot of parents have been through that situation.
Yeah, because, I imagine, because, parents are forced to sort of hang together because, their kids happen to go to the same school. That's a funny concept. What if when the kids break up? What if when the kids stop, liking each other? That's funny.
That was my other kind of gripe on this. Is okay, Marge just hangs out with those women. That's fine. The kids don't have to hang out together. Why would they?
If they have to, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of what I hate about the heart of this episode as well, that, once they finally get the four of them together, Bart has this wonderful time. They're doing all extreme sports together, and he's got that hungover giddy joy the next day. And then all of a sudden, Marge goes, "Oh, we're hanging out again," and he's like, "Oh, great." And he just turns on nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Even when they were having fun, he did have a moment of, and it's but why? You haven't explained. I think they need to dig into that a way more, especially it could be as simple as when they jumped out of the treehouse on their skateboards, he actually gets hurt and they just laugh at him for it. And he's they're too much, even for him. There's something there, but it just doesn't. So.
Well, when Bart jumped out of a treehouse, he did die and it was all a death dream.
The good old death dream.
And Homer also had a death dream when he exploded in the garage. So
Oh, that's right, that scene.
this is an undeniably... 2 people died in this episode.
Yeah.
That had a shared fantasy of the rest of the series.
Really should have pinched that bit from Shut Up and Take My Podcast and have, the running death count in these episodes. Because, oh, God, that fireworks scene. Apparently it was cut in the UK. It's mentioned on, in my research. There wasn't anything to back it up. But can you guys guess the other moment that was cut from this episode in certain areas?
All the ladies making out with each other for literally no reason.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm guessing that, yeah.
Yep, because especially back then when this was airing, this was still part of the Fox network. And lots of affiliates in America were not happy with this scene and cut it right out.
See, I wasn't expecting you to say America. I was expecting other countries,
I know, Dubai
it's
or
gone
something.
everywhere.
Or...
Yeah, somewhere with more restrictive laws in place.
I imagine they did as well.
Probably, but the fact that it happened in some parts of America, it's funny considering just how common it is for sexualization like that to make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, especially with, the sexualization of lesbians and, this felt like that to me. It felt very male gazy, and this is just happening, because, now let's see these women making out.
I would have liked it if the guys did the same thing once Homer went over to Flanders.
Yes!
Yeah, would have gotten some balance.
Finally, that awkward fat fuck's out of here. Let's go, boys.
That's why they were so upset. They kept wanting to make out. And
It makes way more sense.
Oh, damn, Diana already with the fucking excellent punch-ups, and we're not even up to the what would you change yet. But what about Marge's heart in this episode?
Look, the heart bit they're going for is, all the other mothers well, yours was always the bad seed or the bad apple. And they've kind of covered this before in, the tree lizard episode where, yeah, he's a bad kid, but she loves him anyway. And it's just so quick and done. And it's like, oh, we're finished? All right, cool, bye.
Yeah, plus, if Hugo wasn't trapped in the attic, he would be the good one in the group.
That's true.
But no, I kind of liked... In execution, most of the episode was terrible, but I do like a lot of the moments Marge got. Or at least... Yeah, I liked her being happy. That almost never happens, especially in modern episodes.
Oh, yeah.
I like seeing Marge be happy and happy to drink without it being an episode about Homer ruining her life. And she genuinely had some good moments. Like, it is a very dated 2011 moment, but I did like that she was like, being out on a Tuesday? What am I, Charlie Sheen? If you take out the Charlie Sheen bit, that joke would still hold up.
Yeah.
Or go someone even older just to really kind of... who am I, Hugh Hefner? I don't know.
What am I, Fred Astaire?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure a lot of, I've been in those situations where, I'm working on Wednesday and I don't want to just be out on Tuesday. I'm like, God, can I just be home right now, please? So, yeah, I like that. Marge was good. All, 6 minutes of Marge were good. It's just the rest of the episode wasn't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, legitimately fun seeing her have fun. And, I liked that scene where they were out at dinner and she was having trouble disconnecting from, her usual routine and, she's cutting up her chicken into bite-sized pieces. And I even like the into the brain scene.
The brain diagram, yeah.
Yeah. Repressed rage, even though that's kind of a bit of a dark turn, the idea that that was replaced finally with a social life, and but still keeping room for the supermarket map, kids schedule, and car maintenance updates.
Still a mom.
I wonder what my brain looks like for that. Probably that huge part for Simpsons, another big part for video games.
And right now, COVID vaccine.
Oh, God, yeah. That Pfizer's just coursing through my brain, and it's great.
Yep.
I can't wait to get a 4th dose, actually.
That microchip just sitting in there on your brain pan.
I'm up to 15G.
Yeah, you get great reception. Just
Yeah, this Zoom call has been fucking, stellar at the moment.
Without a computer, it's bizarre.
Coming to you live from Elliot's brain. This is there. Wonderful. But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are the characters behaving like themselves? How's the integrity?
Yeah, characters are fine. The bones of a Simpsons story is here. It just doesn't quite pull together the way it should.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there's any massive breaks.
This feels like The Simpsons. It doesn't feel like the best Simpsons, but it feels like The Simpsons. No one's really out of character.
Yeah, for me, this is just one where the show's off. Because, I love the skeleton of this episode, to be honest. I think the core structure and ideas are solid, but the material just doesn't live up to it.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's pretty cut and dry. But yes or no, would you watch it again?
Nah.
I would.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was expecting to not like this episode because I had forgotten. I'd seen this episode before. I was still watching at season 22. I was watching until 25, 26. And my very first note was, oh yeah, I vaguely remember this, but just by seeing the thumbnail, and then it just says, never mind, I don't. Because it was, it is a forgettable episode, but the core skeleton has enough good moments. There's a little meat on that bone, just a little. And I just like seeing Marge be happy. She never gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's not a great episode, but there's so few episodes where Marge has any kind of agency.
Yeah, it was really Marge-centric ones.
Yeah, it was Marge-centric for the 5 minutes she got on screen.
Yeah, you're saying that just, makes me think it's so annoying that this wasn't more pulled into focus, and you could have really gotten rid of so much of the... sorry, that's getting into what would change.
I mean, we're about there.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, I want to watch this one again, actually, because I felt let down by this episode on this one, and I know that I've seen this, 5 times at least in the past.
Hey, you don't need to watch it anymore. You've filled your life quota of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's done his time.
Yeah, I think I do want to watch it again because this is one that I've put on willingly, and I want to know why. What was past Elliot thinking?
I think you were too high.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But now I'm high on vaccine. But yeah, what would we like to change? BT, we'll start with you. What would you like to change about Mums I'd Like to Forget?
All right, so it's like a rainy day or something, and Bart and Lisa are roughhousing and chasing each other through the house, and someone knocks over a bookshelf, and a photo album comes tumbling out, and they're like, oh, wait, when was this photo taken? We're hanging out with other kids? Mom looks like she's happy. Who are these people? And they ask Marge about it, and she's like, oh, we used to hang out with them. I don't remember why we stopped hanging out. We should go hang out with them again. So then they start hanging out, yada, 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 same kind of plot beats. But then they bring in the idea that, oh, but your boy's the troublemaker, ours are all innocent, and they bring that in at the halfway point, so we have some actual conflict running through this, and then have a balance between, Marge trying to prove, no, my son's a good kid, and then Bart trying to prove it as well, so maybe there's a bit of, framing going on, or the kinds of things that would be his idea come in. Meanwhile, he's kind of trapped in this mean friendship. And I don't know where we go from there, but that's because no one's paying me. If you want a script, that costs. Baby, the finger thing means the pay me.
It's good on like an audio podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, make sure you're rubbing your fingers right into that microphone so we all hear.
My fingers really aren't very loud.
If you do the $100 tier on Patreon, you get the video.
And a script by Beach, apparently.
Yeah, I will write you a script if someone pays $100 on Patreon. I don't know what for.
Diana, what would you like to change about this episode?
More Marge, the dad's kissing. I guess I would like it if either they expand on the Bart stuff or they just trim it down significantly, because there's a lot of it but not much substance. I guess also just more scenes of Homer reading books. That's all I need.
Yes.
I guess also definitely the first act, just that whole first act needs to go. Just abandon it. I don't think there was a single good joke in the first act, and it was terrible. That was what I expected from today. Sorry, I think someone's dying above me.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're dragging a body. That can be in the deleted scenes.
Or on record in a court of law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
on a true crime podcast.
And wait for that day where we get called into court to fucking play back a podcast for admissible evidence. Fuck.
And then we have to explain to a jury what Jordan's anal corner means.
Yeah, and any substances you've consumed have been entirely legal.
Yes.
So a little too legal, if anything.
Sorry, you were saying before.
Before someone died upstairs.
Yeah.
The whole first act was terrible. They should have shortened it. A lot of modern Simpsons have first acts that are pointless. I would rather they have a pointless, funny first act than this, because this sort of served the point, but it was so drawn out and not funny, and at least entertain me. If you do something. This was there was even a scene where Nelson was staring at Miss Krabappel's boobs, which and she was happy about it.
Yeah, he's like, I just wanted to see if you were wearing a bra. And she's like, oh.
No, because, I liked that joke until they overstepped it as, the cliche pouring of the Gatorade. And her just going, I'm not even the coach.
There is no coach.
Why didn't they end it with, ha-ha?
Yeah.
That's the one time I would have been, let's do the catchphrase humor.
So I wanted to see if your nipples got hard under that shirt, Miss Krabappel. That's what we went with instead.
Oh, Nelson.
There is probably no shortage of stories like that online.
Yeah. We are not doing that Simpsons index. We are not reviewing your fanfic.
The slash fiction index.
I barely have the sanity to deal with Simpsons actual.
That's what you'll actually go to court for when you start talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, look, Beej, I think you brought up a good point with just get them to realize they haven't hung out with these people a long way in a different way, because I think the one element of this episode that sucks that we haven't even dug into yet is this whole stupid mystery angle of it.
Yeah.
The mysterious scar, which, looked good. I thought the way that they drew and animated all these kids' scars actually looked really good, and that was intriguing, but there is no way that you're going to pay off this element of the story in a way that's going to be satisfying to the rest of the whole overarching thing. And the idea that it was intriguing or interesting really lost a lot of steam. And then you get to the end and it's like, they set off fireworks and exploded comic book guy's sandwich.
But none of their parents will tell them how they got that scar. It's like, why? Yeah, you set off some fireworks with your friends and a hors d'oeuvre sword landed on your hand.
And and if it was a different angle, they're like, okay, this was a long time ago, but maybe Bart's changed or something like that they were coming at it from. There is just so many other different ways that...
And for that to be the central gravity of this episode, that's the plot line, basically, to have such a dumb payoff is Blah.
Well, the mums don't talk about it either. It's just like, why don't the kids have a scene where they're confronting, all four of them confronting all four mums? What happened? And it's just like, we'd rather not. Like, there's not that scene.
And then have them all argue about whose fault it actually was, and then that's why they split up, and then that's why no one wanted to talk about it. But even then, you would just say, oh, you hang out with some bad kid who set off a firework. Blah.
And yeah, I think if there was a more of a sense that, like, because it sort of felt like it was always them three and Marge, where it's like not that these four women all split off and all had a falling out because of this sort of thing. It's like Marge getting in, like, and yes, more dads making out. All right, we are here. Diana, do you have any other notes of this episode you want to mention before we rank it?
Yeah, the music teacher, I don't know why she, like, what kind of music teacher would let kids sing a fucking diss track like that?
A cool one.
And then it's sharing a common wall with the fucking fifth graders who are like, oh no, they slandered us.
Yeah.
The fifth graders we see all the time in Springfield Elementary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On the Homer book reading corner, I did like that he ripped out the bookmark of the Bible to put it in his book. Like, Homer only had like 4 moments, and they were all pretty decent.
Yeah, I think the only duds, was the Skype bit, but that was more about Mo and the fireworks. Yeah, I agree.
And I wrote down, like, my favorite quote of Marge's, which was, like, she was talking about how she didn't want to stay at the beach, have a beach house, because sand makes me sad. There used to be big rocks.
I do like that.
That is, like, the most Marge thing you've done.
Yeah, I love Drunk Marge, and I even like this bit that Homer was like, oh, look who's rolling in late and is a little bit sauced. I don't know, that's just a fun thing, and yeah, she wants to stay up and drunkenly babble nonsense. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's been like 22 previous seasons that argue against this, but I still did like the whole Lisa in the comic book store joke. How she didn't like being there because it was too sexualizing. I kind of liked that. It was pretty relevant.
No, especially with that, like, the scantily clad woman figure strapped against a boulder. It was, very unsettling. BT, what about you? Do you have any other notes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a kind of a problem of, oh, that scar Bart's had all this time, let's talk about that. To be fair, they do pay it off with a joke when they go to talk to comic book guy, and he's all like, I knew this day would come. I really thought it would happen much sooner. You really don't pay attention to yourself, do you?
You're really uncurious about your body, is the line.
Yeah, I chose not to phrase it that way.
It's ours.
Yes. I know, that is all my notes.
And time for my final notes. When Edna goes after the 5th grade teacher, she attacks him with, like, a freshly opened popcorn bag with the hot air coming out. Apparently, that is really bad for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've never had to have your face replaced after opening up a bag of steaming popcorn directly into your own face?
People haven't had to have their face replaced as many times as you have.
Right, that's a me thing again.
That's a you thing.
Yeah,
It's actually why you have your beard. You've been hiding all these popcorn stars.
It's a natural protectant. The beard wafts up with the hot air to protect your valuable face.
I actually liked the handful of Groundskeeper Willie jokes in this episode. You know, I only took this job because I was cold and needed a shirt. Then, you go, oh, I've got a scar and and it's not a big deal. That's just your belly button. I like this stupid joke.
Well,
no one else
but
did.
You did, buddy.
You know, I'm blaming it on the vaccine. That's one of the side effects they don't talk about. You like really bad jokes.
All right, let's see if we can blame the vaccine on this one, because I really liked Marge's like, why are there so many peanut shells in the shower drain? Homer's like, I just like to wake up with that fresh from the circus feeling.
I kind of liked it.
See, I didn't. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a fan of shower beers, I was kind of like, I could also have peanuts in there, of course.
It's so simple.
Homer's a genius, underrated genius.
Oh, there was Flanders' moustache origin story. That was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that I hate about any time they try and do these flashback thing. They try to, give context for all the character traits that are happening now. And
things you've never worried about.
Especially what makes that Ralph bit extra disappointing. And and we just reviewed an episode as well recently that Wiggum was talking about. He dropped Ralph multiple times. It's just, stop doing this. It's just sad. It's not funny. And yeah, my only other note, and I really like this bit where Milhouse is struggling to help Bart out of this situation, and he just goes, can I go home and think of a lie? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just quintessential Milhouse moment to me. It is time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if this episode was just, you give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, the episodes which the Simpsons could not exist without, you give Cubic Circle DR. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I want to give it a bronze just because it does some things right and the core concept is good, but
It's coherent.
it is coherent, but the material is just the wrong turn at everything. And like the biggest tell, I guess, for me was like the change section where so quickly among us three, we came up with such better ideas for it. So I'm going with participant, but I don't feel good about it, and I might blow it out bronze later to steal a line from BT. Speaking of which, BT, what would you like to rank this thing?
Participant. I feel good about it. It's just one I don't feel like there's much of anything to this. I think there's a solid core there, but I'm not furious they got it wrong. I'm just kind of, whatevs. You tried and didn't quite work for me. So, it's not egregious. There's no sins here. There's just a bit bleh.
What about you, Diana? What would you like to rank it?
I was coming here on a Patissa bronze, so I think I'll go bronze just because there are moments that I will like and will stick out with me, and I'll be like, oh, I want to see those moments again. And the rest of the episode wasn't bad enough to drag it down too much more. It was just, it was just like static. You just had it, and then there are these decent moments that actually propped it up. And the worst part of the episode was the beginning of it, so it didn't end on the bad note. It just it started on the bad note. You put it on while you're getting food, and then you come in to enjoy a decent 2 acts.
Yeah, no, I'm glad someone did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you were thinking bronze, because I was worried that you were going to, someone was going to fail it for being so boring.
Honestly, I wouldn't disagree if someone wanted to fail this one, because it's one of those ones where I feel so disappointed that it didn't live up to its concept, but also the material was definitely not failure.
I'll try not to call you at 4 a.m. if I change my opinion, but...
I know you called Jordan. We have a very specific process for this.
Even if he wasn't on the episode, we still call him.
Especially if he wasn't on the episode.
All right, well, that will be a shiny participant, and wow, this will be the 6th episode from season 22. To get a shiny participant, it'll be joining Elementary School Musical, that's with Flight of the Conchords, How Munched Is That Birdie in the Window, Angry Dad the Movie, The Scorpion's Tale, and Love is a Many Strangled Thing.
Yep, they all seem fair.
Yeah, that fits. The Scorpion one I think should be lower, but it was memorable, so I guess it fits.
Yeah, props for that, I guess.
Oh, that's always a surprise to me. I feel like that always should have been a unanimous bronze. I was baffled by BT and Jordan knocking that one down.
No,
you should watch it again.
It should have been lower, but
well, there we go.
It's memorable, and this episode had memorable moments, so I guess it works out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, I certainly do remember Grandpa's eyes hanging out of his skull.
And Werner Herzog. All right, well, before we move on, we must ask, for the first time in a while,
I know.
if that reputation is justified.
Is that reputation justified?
Wow, remix.
I was stunned. That's my apparently stunned singing voice.
But anyway, Rowan Kaiser of the AV Club.
Do we have a thing for Kaiser? I can't remember.
You took our word for decady.
There we go.
She gave this episode a C+. So that's actually pretty low for them.
I was going to say, AV Club, do they generally only go down to D?
D's like a, turn the key, submarine. This is an unmitigated failure. C's definitely like in their low participant failure range. So a C+, I reckon, would be like their equivalent of a dull participant. Okay. Anyway, she writes, the entire episode just seems to be hurtling towards a reset button. Of course, Marge isn't going to end up with 3 new best friends, and of course, Bart isn't either, but the writers seem to know this, and the resolution is half-assed at best.
Yeah, fair.
It is, but do they go into every episode thinking, wow, nothing's going to matter?
I was talking about this the other day. It's like, I think it's why the, Simpsons staffed reviewers of outlets have such, relatively quick turnover. They generally only last 4 seasons at a time or something. I think people just I can't hold on hope anymore.
How the hell have you done this?
I think the AV Club don't even do them anymore.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think it was kind of what we were saying in the sense of the mystery was the focus, and that's what, was the element that would hit the reset button rather than the focus being the emotional core of Marge having friends, but Bart disliking the kids he has to hang out with. Because that at least would have told, a different story. Yeah, we know they're not going to change the fundamentals of the series, but the story could be different around that.
Yeah. All right, well, that about does it for the HD era, and now we're going all the way to the teens era, where we're going to review an episode called Girls Just Want to Have Sons. We will be back.
I mean, I have Cyndi Lauper in my head now, so that's okay.
No, it's not.
I didn't say it was good, I said it was okay.
And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 17, Episode 19, Girls Just Want to Have Sons. First released in April of 06, it was directed by Nancy Kruse, written by Matt Selman. In this episode, oh boy, Principal Skinner says something really sexist, and then they get a new principal at Springfield Elementary who divides the school into girls and boys, and Lisa poses as a boy to get a better education on the boys' side. First of all, normally I say first, like, what did you think? But firstly, I'm sorry. This was fucked.
Yeah.
I wrote the word oof like 6 times. Just like, oof.
I'll be honest, like, the messaging, like, every aspect of the story they were going for was terrible. There were more good jokes than I'd like to admit.
Oh, really?
There was some decent... I thought there were some decent jokes.
Yep, I've got a few up arrows.
Yeah, like, for such a terrible episode that I was dreading and have not wanted to rewatch in, like, probably a good, 14, 15 years, there were some jokes that I kind of liked. And also the opening. I did not realize this was the episode with that opening, and that opening is good.
Oh, wow. We might actually end up having some differing opinions on this one.
Ooh.
Because, this whole time is like, oh my god, I can't believe I had to put you two through this thing. Oh my god, I was cringing the whole time.
You were He-Man's cat?
Fuck, deep cut. Well, actually, not really. He-Man's back in...
Yeah, it's back again.
Back in circulation.
How is it? I haven't watched it yet.
It's good. The kind of people that hate women hate it. It's good. It's much less a He-Man show than it is a Masters of the Universe show.
Cool,
and in particular, women in the He-Man universe get the starring role. Yeah, it's actually good.
Yeah, because I watched a little bit of the She-Ra series, and, I'm a lifelong Kevin Smith fan, so...
I would rather be watching that than this episode, but this episode was not the worst 20 minutes of my life.
Well, I mean, we're at this end of the podcast where I've been able to sort of go, ooh, that episode gets into some touchy subjects. I'm going to ignore that. Maybe a little later, maybe a little later. And now our fucking...
all the things you've pushed to the back, and now that's all we've got left.
Now you know why every Simpsons podcast stops after 10 episodes.
Right.
They don't want to get to this stuff.
Yeah, I see Four Finger Discounter just circling the end of season 14, which, you look on our charts, 15's when it starts flipping to be mostly bad. And season 17, I think, is particularly egregious for these sort of episodes. But
it didn't have manatees, so it's not the worst episode of a season.
But it did have Homer being a fucking jerk and no real feeling of resolution from that story either. And when I asked you to do the podcast, Diana, I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but this or Goo Goo Gai Pan.
Yeah, I would rather pick an episode that I'm allowed to be offended by and speaks to me than talking over someone else that can talk about how problematic the China episode is. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be the resident victim of this episode.
That's fucking what I have to do now, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
It's a good thing there are no more bad episodes of The Simpsons.
Not a single one left.
Oh my God,
made it through the wilderness.
We're so close, and we've still got so fucking many. Diana, our resident victim, what stands out to you from this episode for better or worse?
We've gone from guest to resident victim. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's the next Resident Evil game.
Yeah. Where you play as all the zombies attacking one person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will gladly rip into this episode later, but there were good moments. If you take the jokes out of the episode as a whole and just put them into a vacuum, they're good. I would watch those on some kind of compilation video of decent middling episodes.
Yeah, take this episode and censor it for decency, and you will be left with like a couple of punchy jokes. And then that's about it.
If you turn this into 2 minutes of just jokes, there are some good ones, like actually good ones. You know what? Because you brought up Homer earlier, and he was a piece of shit, I will go into that later. But I do like the running gag of why did women invent sleeping on the couch? I liked that. But I also like the fact that the dog made him sleep in the doghouse.
Okay, yeah, good call. I did pop for that one.
Yeah.
Probably didn't need the, how did I end up out here? I would have just settled for
I just thought, what the?
Yeah.
But that was good.
What are some more of the positive jokes that you found in this one, though?
See, I want to save some for later so I don't just attack the episode for 20 minutes. But
Sprinkle the goodness.
Yeah, no, I'll save some for
Gotta
goodness.
pace yourself.
No, I will say one other thing. Okay, so Marge was listing all the things made by women, and this isn't a good joke. I'm not going to say, oh, Homer's comeback was great. But one of the things she lists is liquid paper. I looked into it. The person who invented liquid paper was the mother of one of the people from the Monkees. So, that's a deep cut for Marge Law. Yeah, look it up.
They couldn't sing their own songs, yet she invented her fucking,
She was the
office.
mother of Michael Nesmith of the Monkees.
There you go.
He didn't wear his own hat, and yet his mother invented whiteout.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So yeah, I like to think Marge only knew about that because she was so into Monkees stuff.
Yeah.
True.
Actually, that's a fair cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they didn't intend it, that's an amazing fucking coincidence.
And that episode also had problematic views of gender with the whole, her dad was a flight attendant. So, it works very well. This is...
Yeah, we reviewed that one with you too.
Yeah.
Again, thank you.
I forgot about that. I just listened to Pods in the Kia Springfield that came out like 6 months late, and it's fresh in my mind.
Oh, yeah, that's right. BT, what about you? What stands out to you for this episode, for better or worse?
Well, unlike in the last one, we talked about the core being very good. I want to talk about how the core fucks this one up royally, mostly in Skinner, because he just gets on stage and is like, I knew you'd be a success, but you're bad at math, lady who's on in the theater. And it's like, wait, why would Skinner ever say that? Like,
this is a worse integrity break in my mind than the Armin Tanzarian thing.
Yeah, it's so out of character. And like, your best student is Lisa. I mean, there might be an argument to say it's Martin. There's a rivalry there, but your best student is known very well by everyone who's ever seen this show to be Lisa. And so it's just so weird that the show even forgets that somehow. And even to that, when they kind of revamp the school and math for the girls' class is all, how does a plus sign make you feel? It's like, but this wasn't the point of the new principal who wanted to separate the school. Why is any of this happening the way it is?
They did the guest star of this episode so dirty, I thought. And yeah, guest star...
Meryl Streep?
Yes.
Wow.
No, it was Frances McDormand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the mother from Almost Famous.
Fargo, all the things.
Yeah, Fargo. Done a ton of I actually didn't know she's married to Joel Cohen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apparently she was God in Good Omens.
Oh, yeah, she was too.
So, unquestionably, she's, just one of my favorite actors of all time, and...
Got to do nothing here.
And this episode's one of your favorite roles for her, so there we go.
Look, performance amazing, knocks it out of the park, but the material is fucked. Especially, it's so pointless, like you said. And then at the end, where she's like, hey, I don't like this. And then the whole thing with Chalmers harassing her in for a penny, in for a fucking hell.
That was one of my oof notes. It's like, because these kind of things, I at least try to go, okay, what was the intention of your joke? And not so much how did it land, but what was the, intended outcome of this? And this was just like, nah, that's just fucked no matter which way you cut it, man.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just the person that says a bunch of, I don't know, cooked, sexist, whatever fucking phobic, that just says a bunch of those stuff, but there's no underlying point. There's no, meta joke above it. There's just...
It's a good thing that's not relevant in 2021.
But yeah, and those people that say those things, it's like, oh, I'm just joking. And it's like, well, you're not. You're just saying the fucking hacky old thing. And... oh, man, I'm so mad. There's no way around it. But what stands out to me? I think the Circle of Knife is fucking one of the laziest goddamn parodies you could have ever come up with.
Okay, no.
Wow.
It is...
Hot take coming through.
It is one of the good moments of Teen Simpsons that I always think, this is good. I wonder what episode it's for. And I never actually research it. I like it.
Yeah?
I like it. It was one of the best parts of the episode because it wasn't sexist, so it's already good. But it was a good intro. I liked it. I liked just imagining what that would look like in real life with the props and the costuming and the choreography. Yeah. Like, they could have made it lazier, and they didn't. It looked like you could see the seams and who was holding up what. It looked good.
Yeah, they put in effort and thought.
Yeah, it was good. It was... This is a bad thing, but I'm going to say that the first act of this is better than the first act of the last episode we saw because of the Circle of Knife.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
We also find out that Scratchy likes pain, so every Itchy and Scratchy episode we watch from now on, we know he's getting off.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I was going to say. I do actually pay the visuals. I agree with you. Like, the whole Lion King stage show styling with, like, the people...
Oh, Lion King, that's what it was based off. It wasn't just original.
Little known stage show, yeah. Off Broadway.
But didn't Lion King come out a few years ago? So this predicted the Lion King.
Yeah, with Childish Gambino. And we were talking about Lion King in the last segment as well, so what are the odds? And the lazy lyrics to me, like, in the opening one where they are doing the Circle of Knife, and it's just like, they're just listing cat shit. Hey, he likes cream, and he plays with yarn. It's like... It didn't feel very itchy and scratchy-ish.
You have to understand they're cats and mice. How else will the audience understand? You have to build them up. You don't start with the deep lore.
I guess it's why, I tell people what the premise of the podcast is, because it's always someone's first episode.
Exactly. That's why every episode of The Simpsons starts off with them saying they are humans that live in Springfield.
Yep, ignore the yellow skin. That's just what we're doing here. The 4 fingers, it's just what we're doing.
Actually, if you go back to the first episode of The Simpsons with Norm, they have to introduce what grade everyone's in and everything. So it's good that they set up everything with obvious things.
Solid point. I will say, actually, a joke that I did pop for, because I'm like this when I go see any stage show or whatever, is being in the audience and, like, the actors and whatever doing audience engaging shit. And I crawl. I fucking hate this. And it sucks because I like to be up the front of any show that I'm going to go see, but I'm like Marge. It's just, oh God, don't engage with me. I'm here to watch you. I will laugh when there's jokes. I will be silent and I won't talk on my phone or anything. Just please don't involve me.
But then how will Weird Al have the opportunity to flirt with your mum?
That's true. He did.
Exactly.
And yeah.
And that was very special.
Yeah.
During the song, Wanna Be Your Lover.
Actually, that reminded me, Peach, remember when that fucking stand-up comic, it tried to engage you and just fucking tanked?
That poor guy.
Yeah, it was the stand-up set that already wasn't going well, and he was like, all right, I'm going to do some crowd work. He looks over to Peach.
And I know he's bombing, so I'm like, I'm not going to give him a hard time. I'm going to give him straight answers, and he's, what do you do, mate? Like, I work in a liquor store. He's like, that must be pretty interesting. I'm like, it can be. He's like, just dies. It's like,
now I'm happy
I've
never gone out and done anything exciting. I guess it's like the people with money version of when you're typing in like a live stream chat and they read your comment.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was just sort of looking over my notes. I think the final song wasn't bad, but I just... This wasn't for me. What about you two? I think I'm feeling like I'm the sour one on this bit.
Well, I think it was all about the visuals, but I do kind of agree it ran quite long, like especially because the song is, again, slow, so you get the point long before it actually comes around. But, I think the way they figured out how Itchy and Scratchy's stage musical in the style of The Lion King would go was very clever, so mixed, but it definitely was too long. Man, there's this fancy lady sitting next to Homer who is just annoying, and that's just never a thing. It's very weird.
I didn't mind him blowing his nose on her diamonds, actually.
Yeah, but it's the first one where she's annoyed. He's just rambling on, and she's giving him this look. It's like, oh, is this going to be a thing? I don't remember this happening. And then, no, not really. Sorry, I kind of cut you off, Diana.
It's not a book, it's a theatre show. Yeah, and then I cut off you, acknowledging your cut off. What would you like to say,
The circle of cutting off, and then I cut off Elliot.
Damn it!
Now, I was just going to say that, like, the whole intro, like, it was too long, but it kept me engaged, I guess is the point. It wasn't amazing, but in the last episode we saw, the whole, like, first act just bored me to death. This didn't. There was always something visually speaking, there was always something going on. The songs weren't like amazing, but they were better than just talking boring stuff. There was like engagement going on. It kept me engaged. I really liked it until I didn't, but
yeah,
it was decent enough for season 17.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And, I'm hammering on about it now, but there is no way it's any worse than what's about to come, which we will get into via the wackiness. How was the wackiness of this episode?
Squirrels hold Skinner down and force feed him poison.
Yeah, I popped a little for that, actually.
And he does. We see him die. So body count.
Yeah,
Death count.
I actually kind of liked that moment just because of the absurdity of it.
Same.
Because I thought the joke was just going to be the squirrels looked at him angrily, then I thought the joke was just going to be they were attacking him, and they just kept one-upping it. If they one-upped it again after that, it would have gone on too long, so I think if it was season 30, they would have had like one more thing where a squirrel's pointing a gun at him or something.
A kind of wacky moment with an animal I did pop for, which was Lisa yells, "I'm looking for a challenge," jumps over the wall into the boys section. There's a wolf growling and he says, "I meant a mental challenge." The wolf is like, "Oh, you don't need me," and kind of just walks away. I'm like, okay, that's all right.
I liked that. It's really the shame, like, I don't know if I'd ever want a Simpsons episode to do this, splitting the school on the binary like that, but the idea that the boys' side is this desolate wasteland that's still a fountain of education, but yeah, we just don't get the same sort of favor and depth given to the other side either.
Once Lisa leaves the girls' side, that's it. We don't see it again. So,
yeah.
That said, they also hung Kathy comics on the walls, and Kathy comics suck.
Take that, Kathy Comics.
Oh, I've said it loudly every morning. It's fine.
They suck, but I do it is low-hanging fruit to say, haha, women don't do a lot of good stuff, but I do like the fact that it's like very famous, well-known women artists, and then it's just that comic at the end. Like, I like that as like a third step to a joke. I think the other two artists would probably hate to be in this episode if they were still with us, but
Yeah, well, God, it astounds me that Frances McDormand did this one, honestly. Like,
yeah, I know. She was in Madagascar 3.
Yeah.
Okay, not surprising.
There's the big question of how do Simpsons guest stars, how advanced do they get the script? Do they get the whole thing? It's still a bit of a question.
Okay, if the Simpsons came up to you and said you can be in an episode, it'll be dog shit, you'd probably say yes because let's face it.
Honestly, to have that credit and then to be able to review it on my podcast afterwards.
I'd be a conflict of interest. You'd have to be taken off the episode.
Yeah. Special guest host this week, Diana. How did the heart land for us? Did we feel bumps?
When did that happen?
He just recorded that once and I just keep using it. Doubled it up on track.
I mean, I felt a little sad when Ralph got hurt. Does that count?
Yeah.
And the Ralph lines. I usually hate Ralph lines because they usually, he's dumb. This is great. Let's drop him on his head. I do like these moments where it's just him misunderstanding these expressions. Give me a lunch money, and he just gives him the lunch money.
Yeah.
And then it's, forgive me for this, and he just says, okay. I thought those were funny. Like, Ralph jokes are usually pretty hit or miss. Even in the classic era, there are some bad ones. Those were decent Ralph jokes. Like,
yeah, and him playing with the ants, it's like, these are itchy, and I thought it was cute. It just made me, like, how much more heartbreaking it was when, Lisa went all fucking prison rules on him.
But again, that's at least the point, I still think she should have beat up Milhouse because,
Oh, way better.
But Ralph got hurt by boy Lisa and girl Lisa.
Which, again, not bad line, but you're saying that, but it's like, why didn't she? Because he already had that thing where he was like, oh, Lisa, no, she was too clingy. I had to ditch her.
Yeah, she already has a motivation. But all right, at least Ralph is, the point of the pecking order or something, or making Lisa into a monster. Again, we so lightly touch on the concept, it doesn't even warrant much discussion.
Yeah. Oh, the whole fucking idea that, the monster I've become is where they arrived in this episode is,
No, that was the scientist. The monster was actually the creation.
Oh, it's good we can laugh through these times. For positive heart moments, I would say that Bart turning around and, helping Lisa with this was kind of nice in theory. I didn't like the material that comes after, but
there's a version somewhere where the idea of Lisa dressing up as a boy to go to like maybe like an all-boys private school or something because she wants to go to their math classes. That's kind of interesting, and especially with Bart helping her out, I always like a good little Bart and Lisa team up kind of thing. So there's an idea somewhere, a She's All That style thing.
Yeah.
No, wait, that's the wrong damn movie. What am I thinking of? She's the Man.
Yentl?
Yentl? Sure.
I don't know. I haven't seen Yentl.
You're not missing much.
I just know it
Streisand,
exists.
something.
The Simpsons have referenced Yentl enough. That's all I know about it.
Yentl playlist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's the movie Marge hires along with the erotic adventures of Hercules.
It's right up there with, The Godfather, Citizen Kane. It's right up there with the classics for the Simpsons writers, I guess. They referenced it 2 or 3 times.
It's true. It comes up a lot.
Yeah, twice. You know what? I think I saw that movie twice.
Yes, that's not too bad. So yeah, finally, with the heart of, the opposite of the Ralph thing, which was the Nelson thing, how do we think this played out?
If anything, you could say this is its one kind of silver lining where Lisa's all like, oh, you just lash. Okay, she doesn't do it well, but she kind of lists the reasons why Nelson might be lashing out. And then at the end says, I love you. And he actually softens for a moment until Jimbo and Kearney start piling on. And they're like, oh, I love you, Nelson. And that you could take that as a good, exploration of toxic masculinity. I don't think that was the point. I think they kind of just lucked into it by accident. Again, if I'm shining the best positive light as I can on it, it's still only about half-assed.
I did like it. I mean, I like the idea of just, we've all been in those situations, or at least I've been in those situations where you try to say something and it comes out horribly and people misinterpret it. So, she meant the best and it just sounded like she was attacking him further, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like that at the end of that Nelson scene, he pretty much takes out his teeth and he's got the season 1 look.
Yeah.
And I think he gives it to one of his season 1 underlings, but
Yeah, with his rows of teeth hanging out either side of his lip. Yeah. I thought that was a good joke. It was
this is the best episode. It's up there with that 90s show and whatever I said last time.
Lisa Goes Gaga, I believe.
I don't hate that episode as much as others do. It's not good, but I get some sick enjoyment out of it.
It's definitely interesting.
It has Just Stand for Ticket Guy. How many episodes do?
I think that would be amongst the cubic failures. We keep talking about this concept of wanting to revisit some of these failures that are actually worth watching. And I think Lisa Goes Gaga is certainly one of them.
If only Mo ate out Lady Gaga like he did Katy Perry.
Very different show.
Yeah, that's a closer that episode needed. But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? How's the integrity?
Broken. Look, I'm sorry, this show forgets that Lisa is well known for being smart. It forgets that Principal Skinner would never say that. And, oh man, its very core is shattered.
Yeah, it wasn't Simpsons.
No, not at all. And Homer and Marge's argument throughout this episode as well, we've talked a lot about, the character break of Skinner, but Marge and Homer's thing that it seeks no resolution, has Homer learning no lesson. I agree the couch jokes were fine, but that it just ends there and Homer and Marge still have this thing where Homer's suddenly sexist.
And Homer
doesn't
is
make
well
sense.
aware he's an idiot. He knows Marge is smarter than him by a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just weird, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, it was tiring.
But I did like another flashback to Marge, being good, a good student and everything. I like seeing Marge doing her calculus back in high school or whatever that was. It's one of those things where a lot of episodes have just shown that Marge is Marge was or had a good future ahead of her, and Homer kind of ruined her life. She wouldn't think that, but I do like those. But I really like adding it to the list of good jokes because there are some. Of Marge was basically saying ever since that day I haven't been able to do any of the calculus I have in my day-to-day life.
Yeah,
I did pop for that one.
No, that was good.
This was the funniest episode that made me really angry, is probably the best way to put it.
I think that's very fair.
Would you watch this episode again?
No. But I would like a carefully selected section of clips to be watched again.
Yeah, look, if someone wants to put themselves through that, like, I'd watch that clip, but yeah.
If this episode, just to get the younger audience, if this was a TikTok, it could work.
Yep.
You should do podcasts of TikToks and just make them 30-second podcasts, split it up into like 400 parts each episode. And
honestly, we'd probably hit a bigger audience.
Yep.
TikTok just overpassed YouTube for most amount of hours viewed on the platform.
Wow.
And YouTube's had like, what, a 15-year head start?
Yeah, and
Insane.
considering the length of most TikToks as well, that's huge.
Yeah.
But you can't watch
wild.
like a 7-hour analysis of a game you don't like.
Thank you, YouTube, for facilitating that. And podcast platforms for facilitating 2-hour deep dives into this cartoon. Diana, we'll start with you this time. What would you like to change about this episode?
Pretty much the entire plot, but I'd keep some of the jokes. Just take out the skeleton entirely, throw every skeleton bit away, but those tiny bits of meat on the rib bones, keep those, and then do more of those. Oh, and don't get rid of the intro. The itchy and scratchy intro, as much as you don't like it, it propped up the episode.
Yeah, maybe I was already on the defense knowing that I knew what was coming up, so I was already fucking...
I actually, when I put the episode on, I actually had to double check that I was on the right episode because I don't remember anything good coming out of this.
I can't tell you the amount of times I've had those moments, like, seriously, where, it's often these first act fuck yous that, it was like, this is this? Wait, we haven't reviewed this yet? What's going on? BT, what would you like to change?
Yeah, look, it's a difficult surgery to remove one skeleton and replace it with an entirely new one. Does that make it impossible? No. Look, if you really want to have the whole story of, like, Lisa pretending to be a boy to go to, like, a boys' school or something like that because she finds their classes more engaging, there's something to mine from that. It's a little bit like when they go to military school, but I like that episode. So, and again, Bart and Lisa helping each other out is always really sweet. And also the idea that, Bart initially kind of bullies her not knowing, but then turns immediately when he finds out it's her. There's something kind of sweet about that. So if you want to have that same kind of thing, just find a different way to do it. I don't think splitting Springfield Elementary is the way to do it. Have it be like a boys-only private school or something like that. I don't know what, but I mean, there's a better version of this, but yeah, you're going to have to perform some very long, very sweaty surgery to get it done.
Yeah, I'm so jealous you got to say it first because that's what I wrote in my notes is the simple solve for the fucking splitting up the school thing is, do it as a private college that's boys only. Say the girls one is fucking out of the district, whatever. There's so many cleaner, easier, better ways that don't involve Skinner being out of characterly sexist. Like,
I will say, as much as like everything Skinner said, like it was terrible, I do like the fact that he defends himself and says that should put the subject behind us. Yeah. I like that. Like he dug himself deeper and he's like, that's good.
Yeah.
On that, there is a bit I like where he goes, the differences, of which there are none, that make us the same are exceptional. It's like, okay, that was like a good storm of a bunch of jargon terms thrown in together that actually kind of worked as a joke.
And also Chalmers says, look what they did to your car, and Skinner says that's just what his car looks like.
And then follow how sad.
Yeah, like Skinner had, in isolation, there were moments of Skinner I didn't hate. It's just the majority of what he said I hate.
Yeah, well, like, I like the idea that now he's groundskeeper Skinner and he's bad at his job.
Assistant groundskeeper.
Assistant to the groundskeeper, Willie. But yeah, I hate his whole despondent, I don't know what opinions are anymore, everyone's good and equal. Like, this just feels like fucking...
kids these days.
Yeah, Cypher for the fucking... white writer who just doesn't know how to not be a piece of shit. I don't know.
This episode is from 2006, and it's just weird thinking that nothing has changed. Like, this came out the same year as Sonic the Hedgehog, 2006, So, it was a great year all round.
I'm like, that game I played when I was 8, are you sure? Oh, right, the Wii game.
The other Sonic the Hedgehog.
No one played.
There were 2 games called Sonic the Hedgehog that came out that same day, because there was a Game Boy Advance version that was terrible.
And a Wii version, which was terrible.
The Game Boy Advance one was a port of Sonic 1, but it ran at like half the frame rate. The music kept stopping. There were many glitches.
Like Sonic 1 is in the 90s Sonic 1.
Yeah, the 90s Sonic 1.
Yeah.
But it was a port where, like, the frame rate would go from, like, 10 frames a second to, like, 30 frames a second every, like, few seconds. the sounds were all garbled.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. Especially because, the big thing of the Genesis was like, we're so fast. What's this little fucking fast blue hedgehog? Mario can't keep up with that shit. That dumpy little plumber.
I spent so much time on the internet that, like, it's weird to me to think that people say Sega, because I used to say Sega as a kid, but I'm so used to, like, every American YouTuber just saying, like, Sega.
Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to say Seeger. In fact, as a kid, there's that joke when Lisa is babysitting for the Wiggums, and they go in to see Bob Saget, and it's Bob Seeger. I thought they meant Seeger as in the video game. And I was like, what's that mean?
Bob Seeger.
Yeah, I thought they were going to see, like, Sonic the Hedgehog.
That'd be like their, like, Aldi version of Mario, Bob Seeger. Oh, dear. All right, well, I think it's time for everyone's final notes. Let's start with you, Diana. What are your final notes for this episode?
Okay, I'm just not going to say, but I'm crossing out a particular slur that I wrote down. Where I think
I feel like I know
is.
the one.
Yep, I do kind of like the whole ballroom dancing thing because, like, I remember at school they made us have to do a lot of dancing, and what was the point in that? We had to do ball dancing and line dancing as a kid.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Nutbush City Limits.
Oh, God, yeah. And yeah, because I was 10 when the Macarena hit as well. And I hate
that was
that
an oldie for me.
God. But yeah, I hate that, like, there's still space in my brain, one of those little wedges we were talking about before that still knows how to fucking do that thing.
Yeah.
And I know the Buttigieg dance. That's fucking even worse.
The what?
The Grand Budapest Hotel. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I just wrote down, like, everyone in Springfield was being way more sexist than usual.
It's so bizarre.
Also, the door for Springfield Elementary makes no sense because the school split in two, but the hallway was wider than it should have been given the fact the school split right down the two-way doors.
Yeah. Comes back to I really wish we got to see more of, like, the flipping between the two schools and, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a comparison.
I liked Homer saying, Marge, I don't want to fight in front of this cool new friend. I kind of liked Homer liking Lisa as Jake Boyman or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was a tighter, quicker version of that. But yeah, conceptually, I agree.
If they made that section quicker, there would have been more time dedicated to shit sexist jokes. So be glad they put that time there.
True.
Got a point.
I did like as well, them calling Lisa toilet wasn't funny, but I do like, hey, a talking toilet.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a good moment.
Well-
Nelson's drawing was fucking cool.
Oh, yeah, the robot with gun arms shooting guns.
Yeah.
I want to play that game.
And a plane made out of guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's
Yeah,
a picture
toilet.
of shooting you. I have a personal fucking history with this because when I was in year 6, like, do you remember those pencil cases that had those, like, gold letters in the plastic sleeves that you used to put your name
Yep.
in? One of my friends was just sort of sitting around and he was just sort of playing with my pencil case. And he figured out that if you spell my name backwards, it spells toilet. Like,
Oh, French.
yeah. So my nickname for a little good chunk there became Toilet. Because I was like, oh, all you have to do is turn your name backwards, add another T on the end, and it's Toilet. And I'm like, there's a few steps there, but
See,
yeah.
now I know why you hate this episode more than you should.
So resentful.
Yeah, I like Nelson's "that was my eating food" moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Same.
Okay, one other moment. I think this might be like my last good moment. Is Bart says, "You're a boy now. Nothing is sweet," and then punches Lisa, and then just says "sweet."
Yeah.
That was good. I liked Homer as well. During his fighting with Marge, I do like that he says that she's so smart. It's sometimes when they're having sex, it's like doing it with a dude. I kind of liked that. Just because it was the worst possible thing you could say, but Homer was trying. I like awkward situations where it's someone genuinely trying to say the right thing and it's terrible. It wasn't like him... Earlier, every other time Homer was a piece of shit, he was like, haha, men invented this and this and this, women are pieces of shit. And that was him actually being good about it. It was just, awkward.
Yeah, true.
And also, my last note was Chalmers sexually assaulted someone. We're back to everything wrong with the episode.
Oh, it's okay. She was into it. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
That's why you just have to kiss everyone you see, because they're secretly into it.
Just to find out where they land.
Yeah, so booked. BT?
Let me see. I only got a couple. I think you've got a point here by saying it's the funniest episode that I hate. Lisa kind of arrives and all the boys are just standing in pairs punching each other. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Oh yeah, just at the very end where it's like, well, whatever the answer is that, women aren't in STEM subjects, then, oh, wait, we don't have time for this. Oh, well, it's over. It's like, way to try and have your cake and eat it too kind of moment of, oh, well, we're going to skip this part, but, oh, we addressed it. Oh.
Well, it's a good thing all those issues have been solved in the last 15 years.
But no, it's such a cop-out. It's just her going, I'm ramping up to a point. And my note there is, what are you going to say here, Lisa? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, then that caps it off with that, and then a fucking chair shot to Martin. It's goddamn lazy and bullshit.
Lisa would have said something, but, women weren't allowed in the Simpsons writers' room for so long. So,
yeah.
The Simpsons is to blame for a lot of the issues
it's another weird thing that credited director is a woman, and yet the writer was a man. And this is around the time, because we did an episode with Ellen where I think it was Lisa the vegetarian that was, the first time that Simpsons had ever done two female, both writer and director credited. And that in my research found that it was so sparse between when that would ever happen again, and especially in the 20s, it fucking rarely happens. That, this is the episode to do that. Why they gave it to Matt Selman, of all people, is baffling. I will die happy if I never hear another parody on the intro to Circle of Life again. Just
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I have only seen The Lion King once in my life. And I was, I think, 18 or 19 at the time. Keep in mind, that would have meant that we were talking about, 2011 or so, because I'm 27 now. So, yeah, I've only seen it once. I've never seen a stage production. I am so out of a loop on how done to death this probably is. That, in fact, I saw this episode before I'd ever seen any adaptation of The Lion King, including the movie.
Yeah, sure. Well,
so, in fact, The Lion King ripped this off, let's face it. That's why I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the stage show. Have you, Beach? Or...
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, really?
Very
Where'd you see
clever.
it?
Capitol Theatre, I think.
Oh,
I don't know.
nice.
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, streamers all over you.
Yeah, lots of blood streamers. That was Carrie the musical.
It was the afterburn.
You laugh. There's a Carrie musical.
Oh, wait. No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I really want to see it.
Oh, yeah, my only other note was actually the two musical moments of this episode, which was we got a little bit of I Know What Boys Like by The Waitresses, which, once again, we've mentioned Todd in the Shadows a bunch of times. There's a great episode of One Hit Wonderland on that.
Yep.
And also Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick.
That's what that was.
Do either of you like Jethro Tull?
I don't really have an opinion.
Sitting on a park bench.
No, I've always been meaning to investigate more because I'm a prog rock fan, and prog rock with flute and keyboards, that actually sounds interesting to me.
I am sure I would like it, but I am usually way behind on any kind of music. Someone has to sit down and introduce something to me.
Yeah, well,
I only got into Rush, I'm probably in 2018, I think.
I was really late to the Rush party as well. I think I only started loving them in 2009, maybe? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you say late. I didn't start listening to them until after Neil Peart died, so...
Oh, wow.
Put that in context, yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Yeah. All right, let's get into the rankings. It is time to rank this thing. Diana, what would you like to give Girls Just Want to Have Sums?
I am arguing with myself because the jokes make me want to participant, but the plot makes me want to fail.
Yeah,
I will go participant just because, I hate it. When you told me this is the episode we're going to watch, I really wanted to hurt you, but this is probably the most pleasantly surprised I have been rewatching an episode, and I still don't like it. It's just, it had moments, so I'd say participant.
I'm going with failure. I personally found that whatever jokes worked for me were absolutely pulled down by the fact that this was just an ill-conceived plot that had no deft touch at all. I was cringing the entire time. There's a reason I've been putting this episode off, and it was on full display in this watch through. Yeah, I hated it. I hated the experience of it, and if I ever see it again, it'll be too soon. BT. Yeah,
I'm going to fail as well. Look, even if you don't find the sexist elements offensive, if you're sitting there going, "Oh, these ridiculous," who are these? I'm trying to think of average right wing speak for liberals, and I can't all of a sudden.
Just go on Twitter, and you'll be told.
I'll be yelled at. Snowflakes. That's what I should go with. Okay. Even if you're someone who's like, these silly little snowflakes just don't get a good little few jokes. It's like, even if that is your approach to this one, the core of it is so fundamentally broken, and it's just not The Simpsons. There's so many character breaks that are pretty massive and critical to the plot that don't work. The entire school forgets that Lisa is good at math, and then the big reveal at the end, she's like, it was me all along. It's like, there should be like, yeah, you're good at math, we know that. I don't know. It's such a dumpster fire. Even though it's a dumpster fire with even though they've got some bits that actually do quite make me laugh, it's the overall package is what I have to take it as.
This episode is how I feel about the Mensa episode from season 9, which you guys rated way too fucking high. That episode is a Patissa fail as well.
I think Danny
you
was
agree with
one.
Danny because I was even saying
Danny was the best one on that episode. I'm trying to figure out a way to re-listen to that episode but silence everything that isn't Danny. So, it's one of those episodes. Both episodes fucking suck, but have jokes. There are jokes I kind of liked. So if you ignore the premise and all the issues and all the slurs, they have that in common.
All right, well, averaging out, that'll be a shiny failure. This will be the third episode from Season 17 to get that rank. It'll be joining, previously mentioned, Bonfire of the Manatees and Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore, which, the very racist Indian episode. All right, well, let's go to the classic era, right at the tail end of the classic era, where we're decking the halls with bells of holly full. Yeah, we're going to go watch Miracle on Evergreen Terrace. We'll go do that. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched a classic era episode. This was Season 9, Episode 10, Miracle on Evergreen Terrace. First released in December of 1997, it was directed by Bob Anderson, written by Ron Haig. In this episode, this is the one where Bart gets up early and sets a fire to the Simpsons Christmas tree by accident. He's not malicious. And then tries to bury the evidence and then makes a lie that the burglar stole Christmas. Hey, what do we think?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's all right.
It's acceptable.
I accept this. All right, so next time on The Simpsons.
Of the classic era Christmas episodes, it's towards the bottom, but The Simpsons has gone on so long, this is still, by default, one of the best Christmas episodes.
Absolutely. Yeah. At least in the top 5.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is better than the episode where Mr. Burns and Grandpa were trapped on that island and Santa Claus was there. You know, the flashback one? Like season 18 or something?
I do not.
Do I? We've finished season 18. I should know it.
It's sometime around then. Remember when... I need to make sure I'm not, hallucinating it, but it was, Grandpa telling a story of when he was trapped on an island back in World War II as, a fighter jet.
We've reviewed this many episodes at this point that I'm like, sure, you could be trolling us right now, but also, Simpsons.
That's the thing, yeah. We've done so many that it's just I guess that's a thing that could have happened, sure.
Yeah. But no, this one... Look, normally I don't like to time the Christmas episodes to come out when Christmas is happening. This was just sort of a virtue of
chaos. It just happened.
We're running out of episodes and this just happens to be what we're doing today. And kind of the reasoning behind that, besides the fact that I'm a little bit cynical about Christmas as a whole, is that often when you're watching Simpsons, you don't necessarily watch the Christmas ones at Christmas time. It's just... and
they
especially
don't often air the Christmas ones at Christmas time, so...
Well, that's the thing. They still air the Simpsons Christmas episodes out of that time, And, especially towards the... after this, because this is the third Christmas episode out of the classic era. The other one's coming from seasons 1 and 7. And, when so many sitcoms have an annualized Christmas thing from day dot, The Simpsons really shunning that, I think, was a testament to how good of a show it was in its classic era. And then by, the mid-teens, annualized Christmas episodes were a thing, and they feel so uncreative and tropey because of that. This one, I think, they carve out a nice enough story around Christmas without it feeling too tacky. But, I mean, that being said, I did kind of leave this one a little, it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. I got a lot of, air blow out of the nose kind of laughs and a few proper laughs, but most of it was just air out of nose.
By the way, I double-checked. The episode I was talking about was Simpsons Christmas Stories, season 17.
Oh, we haven't done that one yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay, spoiler.
17,
Santa is in it.
Yeah, sorry, that's like a vignette one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a vignette.
I was going to say, if that was a fucking canon episode, actually, again, I'd believe it.
It could be canon. Everything's
All
canon.
bets are off now. All of them.
Yeah. We'll start with you, BT. For better or worse, what's a moment from Miracle on Evergreen Terrace that stands out to you?
I feel like in this one we got a good example of like fun jerk-ass Homer and also bad jerk-ass Homer. So him parking across 2 disabled spots and then getting out and dragging his leg, it's like, that's still pretty funny. And then when he's in the massive queue and he says, oh, register 9 is now open, then just takes other people's stuff. That's like so outrageous, it is kind of funny.
I did love that, especially because, like, his excuses devolving, sorry, this is recalled, this wasn't meant to go on the shelf, but like this.
Yeah, but to counterbalance that is when he's at least he's playing the piano and he just yells at her. And it's like, I get the point was, he thinks she's just practicing some song instead of actually playing something appropriate, but it really just came off as mean.
See, I like that joke because I think it's one of those things where the music's diegetic, but you don't really think about it. You just think of it's just fitting background music playing, and then Homer ruins the illusion.
You know what? If it was Grandpa, I think I would have backed it, because it was a little girl. It felt,
Well, Grandpa wasn't allowed in. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. Again, another jerk-ass win. Could have gone either way on that one.
I'm not saying I think what Homer did was morally the best thing, but I do like that it was like a subversion of your expectations, I guess.
No, I appreciate it. What you were saying about the diegetic music, and because the piano as well is creeping up in volume as he's making that speech. So and
it just feels like a very like tropey kind of thing that would play.
Oh yeah, especially for a Christmas episode. That fucking major key bullshit. Sorry, I'll try and back off on my cynicism a bit. Diana, what stands out to you from this episode, for better or worse?
I like that Alex Trebek was in it.
Yeah, guest star of this episode. I thought this was a really funny scene.
I just like the implication that everyone on Jeopardy that loses money has to pay them out.
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Have you been keeping up with Jeopardy news at all lately?
No.
Oh, the whole debacle with trying to find a new host?
No, the current champion on TV at the moment.
Oh, no.
Like, the woman who has won the most money in Jeopardy history is still the current champion, and she's transgender. So, yeah, that's neat. Yeah, she has like a 14-day total of like $500,000 or something.
Ooh,
so she would be
14 days.
I think it's like that. I don't know the stats, but she would qualify for like one of those championship contests they do, where like the highest grossing people, which I think would mean that she'd be like, it's only ever been men who have done that. So yeah.
Oh wow.
If only Alex Trebek was still alive and could see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you picked the relevant episode for right now. It's Christmas and Jeopardy is still going.
They haven't cancelled Christmas
yet. They haven't cancelled it.
Despite that's the future the snowflakes want.
Yeah, despite the war on Christmas, it's clearly happening every year.
I used to do Santa photography at a department store, and people would get pissed if you said anything about Merry Christmas. Like, no matter what. If you said Happy Holidays, it'd be like, we're not in America, get out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's the other reason I should temper my cynicism as well, because, I don't have to work in retail right now. And the whole fucking thing of, like, I actually wish Australia would adopt Thanksgiving or just some fucking November holiday, so
We could
Christmas
justify
songs...
Black Friday.
God. Even if we made a bigger deal out of Black Friday and didn't have fucking Christmas music outside of December, like, God.
Think about those poor retail workers. We should have Black Friday.
Yeah. Your playlist must suck right now, Beach.
Oh, it does. They tried taking suggestions this year. I don't know if it's helped, but I did, specifically ask for The Darkness, Don't Let the Bells End.
That's a jam.
And if they don't play that, I'll just quit.
If you're Australian, you have to say Mistress for Christmas by AC/DC. That should be on someone's fucking Christmas list.
Actually, we were talking about, the waitresses last segment, and they do one of my, personal This Is Okay Christmas jams.
Yeah, Christmas rapping.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. That one.
The
only Christmas thing I listen to is it was some obscure 80s 90s cassette that someone uploaded online where it was kind of synthwave versions of Christmas songs, and no one's heard of this album. There's no credited artist, but it's all online. I will send you a link after this, but it's good.
Wow.
Some YouTuber, LGR, he did a video on it years ago, and it's been my Christmas tradition since then.
Oh, that rules.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's just there's no credited artists. It's just a cassette that he found in like a Goodwill store or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it is great.
That's crazy.
That'd be awesome, because, I'll need something to help break up the fucking endless stream of Buble and Boyle and fucking...
Does it sound like body
Oh wow,
parts?
you're getting Blueblay and Bloyle. That's like the high-end shit, man.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Oh. But what stands out to me from this episode, for better or worse... Yeah, I'm just going to say, and it's going to lead into the wackiness as well, I fucking love Bart's dream sequence here.
Oh yeah.
That is just some of the smartest ways to incorporate, what's the word I'm looking for? Dreamlike.
Yeah, the outside world into dream logic when, he's like
Yeah.
sailing down the river and there's, fountains going off. And I love the cheer squad at the end who's like, we're number one.
Yeah.
We're number one. Give me a P.
P. And the elephant, the rain, the guy with the fire hose going out of control. It's so fucking funny. And so, I said it's leading into the wackiness. What are some other wacky moments that stood out to y'all?
Lisa mispronounces aluminium. What the fuck is with that?
We don't talk about Americans.
What's she going to do? Write the date, month, day, year?
As if.
See, I would have called it Chazwazza.
Well, in Australia, we call everything Chazwazza, so...
Exactly, you Chazwazza.
Yep. Well, there's another weird bit where, first of all, Flanders says, I have a 30-foot tree, you can have the top. But then Homer forgets his name. He calls him something else entirely. Like,
Ted.
Wait, what?
Really?
Yeah, Ted.
See, he says Ted. I've always liked that though because he always just called him Flanders, and I just like to imagine that Homer has never quite known Flanders' first name, or he called it Crandall forever. So
True. Yeah, the whole sequence though with Bart and the fire engine as well. This is, to me, a great sort of dominoes falling, Rube Goldberg, how it ends up in this situation that the stupid kid couldn't just fucking wait 2 more hours as well.
I've always hated that because if you're asleep, that time doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're basically like, I'm going to wake up early just so I can inconvenience myself and get in trouble later.
Yeah, it is weird, especially if they want him to not do that, just hide them, I guess, or say if you open anything early, we'll take it back.
Or we have cameras there and we'll kill you if you do it.
Electrified.
That's what the Elf on the
barbed
Shelf
wire.
is now, see?
Yeah.
Not to get too far ahead of what would we change, but I've always kind of wished that Bart didn't deliberately try to wake up and he just accidentally woke up because maybe he naturally just had to pee, because we've all been there, and he can't go back to sleep because no kid wants to go back to sleep that early on Christmas.
Yeah.
I think his plan is stupid, but it could have been better done.
I think it helps sort of sell the guilt and heart around it as well. I agree. It's a bit too, I don't know, conniving of Bart, but...
What's his end goal? Okay, he plays with it for 2 hours, and then his family sees him do it, and then he'll get in trouble.
Well, I think that sort of lent into with, how he just slices the envelope open and then how he, delicately opens the present and gets too excited and gets too ahead of himself because he's a little dumb kid. 2
of my older brothers, who we don't talk anymore, I'll put it that way, but when they were kids, apparently they had unwrapped Christmas presents weeks in advance. Oh. And they had unlocked everything in a bunch of Super Nintendo games before Christmas even started. And no one knew because they were just playing it. They unwrapped everything and rewrapped it back up so carefully and played it every night.
Holy shit.
I mean,
so
props
that's
to the
next
care
level.
taken.
But
that takes some
the
dedication.
kids don't do that. Bart wouldn't have had time to do that.
No, definitely. But the whole sequence, with the fire engine and, the compounding lights as well, that was, foreshadowed with Homer's craptacular Christmas lights display. This whole thing works for me. This is... And especially just how it melts into that circle.
Yeah.
And the callback to that fucking weird toy. Did either of you ever have that?
the kind of mooing cup thing.
Yeah.
I know of them.
And that you can still have a joke with this, harrowing disaster bit where it's just into the thing. It's so good.
And I love the joke immediately after where Marge is like, did you hear something? And Homer makes that same noise.
Yeah.
But I do feel like he, extra beat, he was basically like, just
100%.
telling Marge to shut up.
Yeah, my note there was Lamb gargling, Homer gargling, perfect, and then knock it off, too far. what about the heart of this episode? You know, just talking about how Bart ruins Christmas. How do you think they landed the heart?
Yeah, I mean, I like the first bite where he's looking at all their, sad faces on Christmas morning, and the love makes him lie. That's actually kind of nice, in a weird way. It kind of doesn't weigh on him much for the rest of the episode. I guess by the time he confesses, they're all in the lie together, but it doesn't seem to be much of the thrust for the rest of the episode that, he did this.
I don't know. I thought they hung on his guilt a fair bit with.
Sorry, I didn't mean the after he confesses, it's not really on him anymore, is what I meant.
Oh, okay, yeah, where it becomes the shared lie. I thought they handled it really clunkily.
Yeah. Like, they should have just said, we found out 2 minutes ago, not we found out after we spent all the money.
Yeah, right? I don't know how, we'll get to it in What Would You Change? But yeah, that was certainly the bit where I was like, yeah, fix that 25-year-old episode. But yeah, I thought, just tailing on from that anyway, I thought them hanging on Bart's guilt throughout the episode had some really powerful moments. And, we keep talking about how new Simpsons feels so empty and so without any sound and ambient track. Every time there was something happening and sort of zooming in on Bart, or you'd see Bart in the background and his face, I think this episode really did pay attention to his guilt throughout the course of the episode.
Yeah, and the Hibbits all on jet skis, and it's like, that's not as fun as it looks. Nothing could be that fun.
I like The Simpsons as well with outside the Flanders. Let's pretend we have cross-country skis. That bit tickles me.
Well, and then going back to being miserable as soon as they're out of sight. That seems to say a lot.
And then, let's spread some joy to the old folks' home. Pharmacist came by.
You'd say they'd be miserable. Yeah, Jasper can't feel anything below his beard.
Yeah. Oh my God, neither can I. So yeah, just circling back to the whole when it comes out and, Bart confesses. Diana, did you have some thoughts on how that played out?
Yeah, I liked the emotional moments, I guess. It's just, like BT said, once the family's involved, it kind of loses that. I did like the guilt with the orphans and the vitamin money. Like, it was
Patches
so thickly laid.
Yeah.
It was good. I like it. I like that Bart has to describe the criminal, and he's basically just saying he had 2 hooks for hands. He was carrying a bag with a dollar sign.
And anything distinct.
Yeah.
That being said, the entire episode could be avoided if he just buried it in the backyard.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Hindsight, but
I guess the front door was closer, but, who designed this house? But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are these the characters we know and love? Is this the show we know and love?
I mean, Bart being mischievous and ruining things and having a guilt trip. I think it's maybe... And even the conclusion of everyone just deciding to steal their stuff back to forgive The Simpsons. That feels very, Simpsons and very Springfield. I feel like something just gets a little lost after they all get involved in the lie and the conclusion. I don't know what. Even just them going to buy a new car feels a little off.
Yeah.
It's like, why? You have 2 perfectly good ones.
You need 3 cars, let's face it. 3 cars for 2
3 cars
adults.
in every home.
Or at least if it was somewhat different and stupid, like if they did buy a Hummer or some dumb shit like that.
Oh, like the same car, but instead of being, light pink, it's silver.
Ooh. Yeah, I'd say in that respect, it feels very season 9 Simpsons, where it does have a bit of these, oh, fuck it, whatever, let's just say Mo sort of endings.
Yeah, there's something just not quite as sharp about it.
Yeah. And I mean, people have often said, why would you include season 9 in the classic era? I argue that there's enough episodes in there to justify that, and also, kind of works.
I have a
better with our
reason.
season brackets.
Yeah, I've got it here. Shut up, that's why.
Oh. Yeah, shut up. Oh, BT.
In
You're
the
always
context
BT.
of 33 or 34 seasons, this is classic.
Yeah.
That's the best way to look at it.
Well, no, that's the thing. The overall ranks do drop severely and surprisingly between 8 and 9, but yeah, it's under 10, so...
I still think the gap between 8 and 9 is smaller than the gap between 9 and 10. I think 9 and 10 is a much sharper drop in quality.
Is that right?
9 feels closer to classic than 10 does to feel like season 9, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, on our average rankings,
Yeah, but your averages are wrong, let's face it. Season 7 is the best season. That's easy. Not season... What do you put there? 5?
No, 7's the top.
Okay, because I remember it wasn't for a while.
No, it flipped around. It was 6 for the longest time, but then fucking another
clip show.
Simpsons clip show. Yeah, absolutely tanked that. Anyway, yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Later. Well, give me some time between it.
Yeah, same. And I think this episode also, I was going to say this with feeling like an episode. This is always just going to live in Marge Be Not Proud's shadow, and that we're doing another Bart guilt Christmas story, albeit it's a different angle on it.
This one also has Try and Save in it. That's where Homer goes shopping.
Oh, good point. Playlist. What are some other Simpsons episodes that would pair nicely with this one?
Appearances of Poor Violet. She does show up again somewhere.
Yeah. Patches and Poor Violet.
And I do really like the joke of they start throwing tomatoes and then move to pumpkins and someone throws a pineapple on a string through their window. Yeah, things being thrown through the window playlist.
Yeah, we saw the brick one yesterday. Oh, it's
we got an ender.
Yeah. And the support and against rocks. Yep. I don't know. I don't remember if that's a good episode or not, but I liked that bit.
But that bit was good.
Yeah.
I think that was the art thief one.
What about when Ralph's like, I'm a brick?
Oh, yeah, sure, why not?
Actually, I'd say good Ralph one-liners as well. Hi, liar!
Yeah, I like that. I don't like a lot of the stuff after the family are all pariahs, but I like that joke. Because Ralph, I like Ralph when he's not just isn't it funny, he's stupid and this caused some kind of probably brain damage or mental health issue with him or something like that. Like, look, he's in the back of the bus with the toxic fumes. I don't like those, but I like it when he's just so naive with the world around him, I guess.
Yeah,
and this is
simple and earnest, I think, is his best qualities.
Also, this would go on the playlist of property of Ned Flanders.
Yeah, to me, the sequence of when they were taking because I agree, I don't like much of it when they do become pariahs and how mean everyone is to them. Not because they're mean, but just the material's not super great. But when they're taking the stuff back from The Simpsons, I love all of that. And that Ned is stealing his own barbecue back.
Or Lenny's stealing the burning log.
Oh, fuck, that's good. Why is comic book guy putting the cutlery down the front of his pants?
Where else would you put it?
That's not,
a lot of men's clothing doesn't actually have pockets. They're just fake. Yeah. So,
big pocket right in the front. Oh, maybe he likes it.
His
I shouldn't
big
be so
dick
judgy.
is protecting himself.
Maybe he has just, a really callous dick.
Or he's maybe he's into it, some knife play.
But also, Alex Trebek as well, just stealing a bunch of canned goods. This is good.
Yeah. It's a good way to bring him back. And again, he doesn't say anything. He's just there. It works.
Yeah.
How did he get there so quickly? Because they were just leaving Jeopardy and they were driving back to Springfield and everyone was stealing everything.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean...
Unless there's two Alex Trebeks.
No, I mean, he's got Alex Trebek money,
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Marge stole it all. She took the 5,200.
He's got 5,200s from a lot of dumb contestants over the years. I'm sure he's got enough to, get himself a rocket-powered car and a solid gold house.
Yeah. The dream.
And I just do love the sentiment that Mo was like, well, we didn't really want to keep being mad at you, so, we did that. I think that really brings it together.
There's a nice undermining of the Christmas spirit on that one. It's not just, we'll forgive you. It's like, we hated being mad at you, so we just stole your stuff.
Yeah. Bringing it back to the heart, I fucking love the washcloth ending. I think that is perfect.
Yeah.
It's weird no one took the curtains. You'd think...
I thought about that, yeah.
And the light bulb was missing, but not when they did the zoom out of the house and all the lights turned on.
Ah. Claire's, did you ever notice this corner?
Yes.
It's lazy writing, honestly. Now, the show's probably going to get cancelled anytime after this episode.
What dare we say? But that it was started out as a, typical Homer, Bart, stupid, boorish fight, and then Marge gets to be a little cheeky. Besides, it's mine. It's so cute.
Nice. And just while we're in the Claire's, did you ever notice this corner? That's not old Jewish man's voice. What the hell?
Yes.
It was from the retirement home drugs. They changed his voice a little.
Yeah, must have.
Yeah.
All right, but, no episode is perfect. We like to talk about what would change. BT, what would you like to change?
Just a general tightening of the dogs. Specifics I don't really know, but there's just I find something else to do once Bart confesses, I think. I think that them being pariahs is kind of the weakest point. I'm not entirely sure what, but something else. Yeah, just make with a laugh.
All right, Diana, what would you like to change?
I would have them not buy the car and find some other way to waste money. I'm sure there's a million ways to do it.
For real.
The car was pointless. Even if they just went on a holiday and came back and were like, nothing changed. And that was, something.
I just had an idea, because I was thinking what I'd change is just, I had an idea again. Maybe they do try and buy like more elaborate presents that also then catch fire. I don't know. It's not my best idea that I've had for this show. But
they have to lose whatever it is. So it either has to be something that, is an experience and therefore they can't get a refund for it, or has, self-destructed in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like, because I do like that Bart, like, is then feeling guilty about the money and trying to push them not to do so. Like, I really wish that was sort of hammered in a bit more. And yeah, like we were saying before, that from Bart confessing to them turning into town pariahs happened so quickly and so clunkily. And Kent Brockman just turns the town against them essentially as well. I don't love that, and it's not a comment on anything, but I mean, having said that, one of my favorite running bits of the episode is the presents, and I love like they keep hammering in on the yellow sweater, and when like Kent
put that yellow sweater down.
Yeah, and then when Kent mentions it as well, there will be no yellow sweater for Lisa, and she just kind of looks like annoyed. It's like. So that yellow sweater as well, with her complexion, would look weird.
But I never understood that when the tree is burning, you can see the sleeve of a yellow sweater. Yeah. So did the wrapping paper burn, but not the sweater? The sweater was made of asbestos. So.
They built close to last in the 90s.
Yeah,
sure, they killed you, but... And yeah, and I love the little returning bit of there will be no Cajun sausage for Homer, and then when they dig the thing up, it's like, Bart's fire truck, little Lisa sweater, little Homer sausage. Like, so fucking good.
Yeah, do not Google little Homer sausage. You get something else.
All right, we are here. Diana, do you have any other notes?
Yeah, I like the joke at the beginning where Homer just keeps hitting like the heater and it starts snowing in the car.
Yeah, while it's not snowing outside. Yeah, it's good visual.
I like that. I like the bloody spearheads that Bart has.
Yeah, oh, this is great.
Christmas trees for the girls, bloody spearheads for Bart.
Yeah, and it's like, boys get math and girls get experiences. See, it's same playlist.
Oh, God.
I like the fact that with the fire truck, this is Bart when he actually feels like a kid.
Yeah.
It's not too often we get, like, that kind of stuff. The kids are either, they're just small adults. This is the kind of thing a kid could believably do.
Yeah.
A kid could fuck up Christmas for everyone the same way.
That's, to me, is what helps sell the guilt later, because you feel like, this is something that could happen to a kid, that they get so caught up in this lie and they didn't want to let down their family, and they know they acted selfishly. That's what really works for this.
And I like with the Tickle Me Krusty, it's saying like, hey Bart, look at my Tickle Me Krusty, and Milhouse just gets a snowball thrown at him, and it was Homer.
It's
I've always loved it.
Yeah, it's such a good misdirect, yeah.
I like when Homer is coming home from Moe's and Marge is like, you have to come in, it's a miracle. And he says, I don't want to hear about that silver polish. It's so great.
I actually didn't mind drunk Homer misinterpreting everybody as well in that.
Your house is on TV. Good. You take that.
Also, first time I ever noticed this, did you get a look at the name of a car dealership?
No.
No, I did not.
It was Cliff's Car Chalet, or KKC.
Oh.
But it's Cliffs with a K and Car with a K.
And then they're like, wait.
But they could just, it's pretty lazy, but, you only see it for like a few seconds.
It's no Sneed's Feed and Seed.
This one makes sense.
Only Chucks.
That's basically it. And I also said I like the stupid, Homer yelling at Lisa about that stupid song.
Yep.
And I'm just repeating it because you guys do not have good taste, apparently.
Oof.
Well, we'll see when we do our final notes.
Yes, this was Diana's last episode with us.
Well, you've done every episode bar 6.
It's true,
And I have been promised a return of that 90s show eventually.
Mm-hmm. On our Patreon. More about that later.
Exclusive.
BT, any other notes?
You need to actually say the things. People know why I'm talking now. Bart versus the end table, when it kind of bumps his elbow on it and tackles it. I enjoyed that. And the fact that it's then not in the next shot. When Brockman's all like, well, while you're eating your succulent turkey tonight, I hope you'll choke just a little bit. He's an intense dude. Yeah. The salesman just jabbing Bart with a pen to get him to shut up and then just doing it for fun. I kind of enjoyed that.
When Homer's buying the car as well, is this $15,000? And he just rubs it out with his sleeve. It is now.
I'm surprised they didn't do a Gil joke in the car dealership, because this was around the time he was making it.
I think he was still new. I don't think I'd sort of...
Well, he was still new, but because the very next season was him with the Canyonero.
Yeah.
So they already had that set in place, and...
Yeah, true.
Yeah, when the car's spinning out and everyone's shouting suggestions like, everyone, one at a time, please. Lisa. And they're very kind of polite, what's your suggestion, sweetie? And then also cars exploding unnecessarily playlist.
Oh, yeah, because it explodes under the ice water.
Yep.
And Homer getting smacked in the face with that fish. Oh, so good.
When Lisa's choking Bart, he's like, Lisa, no, your hands are too small and weak.
Again, that's another one with playing with the expectations. You're assuming Homer's going to why you little this one, and Lisa does. It's good.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say to the burglar who stole Christmas? Well, one of the things we want to say is you sure do exist.
Hello, jerk.
There's a newspaper which is like Angry Mob ponders options.
I missed that.
When they're all like, well, the important thing is we have each other. Psh, would have had that anyway.
And that's the spirit of Christmas, besides the birth of Santa.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone's donating, I love the jokes that, again, good fish jokes in this episode. Sea Captain just throws in a flapping little cod. And Mr. Burns, does anybody have change for a button?
See, I never liked that joke, because it feels like, because it's... I like a good Mr. Burns joke. That's just not one. Because it feels like Mr. Burns is so cheap, but like a button is like too far. Like if it was, does anyone have change for a dime or something like that?
Well, I think that's part of the misdirect that works for me because, he's holding up a tiny coin, so you know it's already not going to be much. And then that he says button is like, oh, surprising.
Maybe it's just because I've seen this episode like 400 times.
True.
It's just, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And just before they do crash, they pointlessly pass by Barney in the Plow King truck.
What was that?
It didn't need to be there. Barney didn't say anything. It did nothing.
It was to set up that he still has the Plow King. So that way we'll know when we play the Simpsons Road Rage and the Simpsons Hidden Run.
Now available for GBA.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to rank this thing. BT.
I'm going to go with a bronze. It's coherent and there are some jokes that got a nice, got the air out of my nose. But only a few like real good solid
What a
laughs.
compliment.
You breathed.
Yeah, I know. It's rare.
Usually you die watching this.
Yeah, usually I'm choking on my own rage here.
Not this time. I could breathe. It's just, I don't know, just needs some tightening. I feel like half the episode kind of lags a little bit. And there's no major problems I want to fix. It's just an overall vibe.
Diana.
I would say silver. This is kind of what I think of as like definitive silver because it is middling, but it has the classic era to it. It has enough good jokes. It doesn't stick to landing. It is a lot of good things that are just not completed in the most satisfactory way possible. But this still feels like classic Simpsons. You can tell there's a energy to it, the pacing of the jokes. It's all classic. It's just it disappoints you a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say it's silver. It's just good, but not great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't remember if we were talking about this on or off record, but we're just sort of saying, I think, Diana, you brought up, you'd sort of take the Funzo episode and Skinner's Sense of Snow over this one. And I'd totally agree and sort of saying before, top 5 Simpsons Christmas episodes, that'd put it pretty comfortably as the 5th best for me. And so, I'm going with a silver as well. You call it generous Christmas spirit or whatever, because I certainly get the bronze ranking. But there's just enough good material and enough heart that I like in this episode. And like, it's one where I'm, giving a lot of props to the animation, the storytelling of it all, even though, BT, I agree, it could use a lot more laugh. Like, even Marge, Be Not Proud, that is such a heavy emotional episode, but fuck, it is relentless with its joke telling as well. Like, this one just doesn't have that feel.
I feel like you have to look at this episode without comparing it to Marge Be Not Proud, because that's just an unfair comparison.
Yeah.
On its own, it's good.
And honestly, if we were comparing it to Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, it's not even the same category. They do so much different, but I think it just similarly enough because we're dealing with a Bart guilt story. All right, well, that'll equal a dull silver. This will be the 3rd episode from season 9 to get a dull silver. It'll be joining The Principal and the Pauper and Trash of the Titans.
Nice.
Both pretty good but flawed episodes.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it is in the right spot, all that considered. All right, well, look, that brings us to the end of the Simpsons Index for this week. Diana, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. I have been listening to this podcast almost as long as it's been a thing, which is scary to think about. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to be back here, especially when we're wrapping up and all the good episodes are taken, so I get to be miserable.
It's getting tricky, yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth it to talk about how good that 90s show is. I better not hate that episode when I rewatch it. I better not just think it's the biggest piece of shit in the world.
It's got a lot of hype around it now, but hey, we'll find out soon enough.
But yeah, I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that I get to promote my YouTube channel, which might be in the description for this, and we'll...
Why, what is that channel?
It's just Freezer, F-I-E-E-Z-E-R, like the appliance, based on a nickname from 10 years ago that I can never separate myself from, and I don't want to get into the origin again, but I think I mentioned it last time.
Sure.
It's to do with Dragon Ball, and I'll leave it at that, and that's the least cringe part of it. There's a lot more. But yeah, I have a lot of videos out there, and I'm actually in the middle of editing together a review of Far Cry 2, which is a great game from 13 years ago. It's miserable and it's fun, like the Simpsons index when you talk about season 15 episodes.
Yeah. But no, it's been really wonderful to watch you develop this channel over the last few months as well.
You made me do this.
I did force her.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things I don't know, apparently I am decent enough to listen to. I don't know, I sound like a robot. Someone told me I sound, and they weren't being mean, but they told me that I sound like the voice at the beginning of Super Metroid.
Oh.
Where it's like the galaxy is at peace, you know, the last Metroid was defeated.
Yeah.
That line, apparently I sound like that, so I'll take it as a compliment.
Hey, there are worse things to be compared to. I'm unfamiliar with that dialogue, but yeah.
No, I've been called much worse things in my life, so... No, I'm just happy to be here. It's better to advertise myself here than the disgusting thing I did last night, which was advertise myself on Reddit. So, yeah.
That wasteland which we haven't dealt with, yeah.
This is less dirty.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're really carving out a really interesting and original sphere in the video games journalism and reviews era. You're tackling a lot of subjects that people don't really talk about, you know.
And, like, platforms not a lot of people cover.
Exactly. And, you know, who else is going to fucking come to the defense of Balan Wonderland?
I love Balan. Oh, love's a strong word. I played Balan on Switch, and I don't think it's the most miserable thing. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I would not recommend the Switch version, but I did grow up on, like, N64 Ocarina of Time, so I can handle a shit frame rate.
Yeah,
but most people can't.
Oh, and your Ocarina video the other day was just great, the 3DS one.
Yeah, no, the 3DS game is good, and I will tackle Majora's Mask 3DS, which... I fucking hate, but I've still 100%ed the 3DS version twice.
Wow.
And I've 100%ed the N64 version about 4 or 5 times. And the first time I played Majora's Mask was like 7 years ago, so it's not even like a childhood game. I used to play it like once or twice a year. It's my favorite non-Hitman game. But I'm looking forward. I'm doing my first Game Boy game next week, and first Game Boy Advance game the week after.
Oh, wonderful.
Which are 2 games you won't give a shit about, but...
Well, once they port them to Switch, I'll get on board.
One of them is on Switch.
All right.
Final Fantasy Adventure, which is the prequel to Secret of Mana.
Oh, right.
All right.
Basically, it's more like Zelda than it is Secret of Mana.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's on Game Boy, and then it was ported to Switch in the collection.
All right.
Oh, cool.
I did not know that.
Well, yeah, if you want to check out more of that, I'll drop the link into...
You better. That's the only reason I came here.
into the notifications, and I'll do, social media posts and all that. But BT, another link I'll drop into the descriptions if people want to hear more of us.
Yes, they can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios for everything we do. But you can also find us on pretty much any podcatcher that you can name. You can check out our other shows, which include Thrones of Game, where we watch Game of Thrones backwards. That's now complete, and Elliot is the only person in the entire universe to have only watched Game of Thrones backwards.
You don't know that.
Oh, I know that. I checked. I asked everyone individually. And of course, and I wrote a script for this because I'm really tired of getting it wrong. Our other podcast is our audio drama podcast, Pulp Fury Radio, which features all original stories across a range of classic pulp genres like horror, mystery, fantasy, and noir. If you're tired of the ordinary and want a podcast with some thrills and suspense, then check out Pulp Fury Radio, available at pulpfuryradio.com or on all good podcatchers, and I still found a way to fuck it up.
Hey, but what if I have too much money and I want to give it to people that talk about The Simpsons? Is there a way I can do that?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Patreon.com/SideQuest Studios. And for the price of a cup of coffee at a cafe, not at your home, whatever. For $5, you can unlock all of our 40-plus shows that we've got exclusive to that platform right now. We put out a new podcast every week, including our flagship show, Except When He's Not, where we're showing BT all the episodes of The Simpsons that he missed when we put them on the index proper. And yeah, we've been in talks. Diana, we'll get you back into, because BT wasn't there when we did that 90s show. I think it'd be good if we had you there for that exclusive podcast. So...
You just need to have a podcast for all the episodes BT was here for and invite someone else.
Yeah. Until then, once again, thank you both so much for joining me today. Thank you, Diana.
Happy to be here. I was less mad than I thought I would be, considering I went into this knowing we'd be talking about the middle episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised I'm not angry.
And it wasn't the best of classic era episodes, but yeah.
No, but it was a palate cleanser.
Yeah, definitely.
Every episode disappointed me a little and impressed me a little. That's the best way to put it.
That's the theme of this week.
Yeah.
A little from column A, a little from column B. BT, thank you very much as always.
Lady, you chuzwazzers.
And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
That's all the washcloth in the house.
I have mustard.
They took my mustard. Anyway. All good there, Beach?
Yeah, I just thought I heard my washing machine on, which it isn't. So I don't know why I thought I could hear that. But Phantom, Rogue,
It
washing
was the
machines.
ghost of your washing machine.
What? Yeah,
Ghost in the washing machine. That a terrible sequel.
Ghosts of washing past, that kind of thing. It is
I'm
Christmas.
surprised there aren't more like creepy pastas about buying like a washing machine at a garage sale.
Yeah, finding someone's old sock in it, and the sock is haunted.
It's the washing machine that makes socks
rather
than takes them away.
You have so many. Okay.
There's some bonus scene content. That's the one thing I wanted to know. What are these things that the security guards are holding? They look like beaver tails.
Yeah, they're blackjacks. They show up in a lot of cartoons where you just thonk someone in the back of the head with them. Remember in the Deep Space Homer episode where the guy keeps knocking people out with one? Yeah, it's usually called a blackjack.
Blackjack is also the weapon for the Thief games, the old 90s stealth games that are amazing. And I'm guessing Elliot's never played.
I actually, PlayStation Plus had Hitman 2.
That's good, but you should play Thief. They're old games they're older than... The first one's 1998, the second one's 2000, and then the third one is like 03. Yeah. And then they did like a shitty reboot. We don't talk about it, but the first two, arguably the first three, are really good games.
Yeah. Sorry, I know you said Thief, and I heard Hitman because you're usually talking about
Hitman. As I said on Twitter, Majora's Mask is my favorite non-Hitman video game, and your opinions upset me.
Fuck, I had people coming after me for that
it's
one.
It's the best fucking game.
You're talking Zelda, of course you had people come after you
Majora's
for
Mask.
that.
I mean,
yeah, but in the thing, I also said, I don't think I've played one that I hated, but if I had to say a worst...
Not the point.
Yeah, no. Majora's would rank with 1 and 2 with games that just didn't click with me.
Zelda 1 sucks, so I'm used to people hating me, and I don't like Wind Waker, but I still main tune Link in Smash Bros. I think the tune style in Zelda is amazing. I just think Wind Waker is 1/3 of a good game, with more padding than like a Simpsons episode from season 20.
Yeah, well, that didn't originally click with me on the GameCube, but the Wii U version, like with the better fast traveling in the sale, like I don't know that I would have enjoyed it either if it was just the GameCube one.
I think the GameCube one looks better, but it is a worse experience. They turned the bloom up too high.
But yeah, blackjacks. This was a fucking hard thing to Google right now because
blackjack weapon. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. So the terms blackjack, kosh, and sap refer to any short, easily concealed club weapons consisting of a dense, often lead, weight attached to the end of a short shaft used as a bludgeon.
Lead. Oof.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like some leather-coated lead.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it. That'll do the job.
And we're about to work Marge over with it. It's like... But yeah, I love that as, she runs away. She says, well, she ain't getting her own version. Good shit.